Hey guys, Effie here. Today I'm going to make this card using our Daisy 3/4 view close-up 6x6 red rubber cling stamp. So I'm going to start off by embossing this gorgeous large image onto some watercolor paper. I'm using Canson XL 140-pound paper, and then I'm going to spoon on some of our rose gold embossing powder. After I heat the entire panel, I'm going to do some watercoloring using Colorburst watercolor powders. I have my work area all prepped out. I have my watercolor palette next to me, as well as an acrylic block that I'm just going to use to just have a little bit of clean water near my work surface. You can use a craft mat if you have, or if you have another empty well in your watercolor palette, you can use that too. So I started off by wetting the area that I want to paint first with some clean water, and I'm using two Pentel water brushes. They're actually called Aqua brushes, but inside the chamber I only have clean water. There's no ink or watercolor in the chamber of the water brush. It's just clean water. So after I wet the area that I want to clean first, I just started adding some of my watercolor pigment. I started off with Marigold color burst. After I painted about half the panel with a little bit of the Marigold color burst, I started adding bits of lemon yellow to the edges of my daisy leaves. After that, I went about the same process for the other half of my daisy, and I'm kind of working in sections here because I want the lemon yellow and marigold to blend together. So I created my base layer of color using lighter shades of marigold and lemon yellow, but I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add additional shading using the same marigold powder. And this is why I really love Colorburst, is because you can get different shades using the same powder. So you can see I can get a nice light orange hue using the marigold, but you can also get a deeper orange hue by just increasing the concentration of powder that you're using. So I'm adding a bit more of the marigold to the inner portions of the petals for my daisy. And as I add my shading, as I add more marigold to the inner portions of my petal, I'm going to blend that color out towards the outer edges of the petals, but I'm not going to bring it totally to the edge because I do want to leave the edges a bit lighter than the inner portions. So you want to make sure that you don't go too color crazy here and cover the entire petal. Otherwise, you're not going to have as great of gradation of color. You can also shake things up a bit. Instead of adding the marigold to the center of the daisy as you're shading, you can add different shades of red, such as alizarin crimson or cadmium red, or you can even add pink. I think fuchsia or even the peony color burst would look beautiful in the center. I haven't tried blending pink and orange, but I think next time I'm going to try to experiment a little bit and maybe try out those color combinations. So once I finished coloring in the petals, I colored in the center of my daisy using sepia and burnt orange color bursts, and then I colored in the leaves using the sap green color burst. I added additional shading to my leafy areas using Terre color bursts. After I finished painting, I set my panel aside to dry completely, and then I took our gold foil adhesive paper and I cut 2 strips so that I can adhere these strips right along the right and left edges of my side folding A2 card base, and this is just going to add some nice foiled accents to my card. Then I just added strips of our double-sided adhesive paper, and this is just really strong adhesive that I'd like to use with watercolor paper, since watercolor paper is a bit heavier than regular cardstock. After I mounted that painted panel onto my card base, I die cut this pretty Scripty Hugs word die from our collection of word dies, and I just die cut the hugs from the same gold foil paper that I used for the strips of my card base. Then I peeled the foil paper off the protective backing, and then I just adhered the hugs to the bottom right hand corner of my card. And then to finalize my project, I just added our clear rhinestones in our 3 different sizes, and this is just going to add a really nice dimensional look to the card, and it actually looks like raindrops because they have no backing to them, and it just creates a really gorgeous effect. And that completes my card for today. I hope you all enjoyed my video. As always, thank you so much for stopping by. I will see you next time.